Hello and welcome to Allegedly Astrology. Each week we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history.
Thanks so much to everyone for listening to our show. And if you want to support us, you can leave a 5-star review and subscribe on whatever podcast platform you listen on.
And as always, if you do leave us that sparkling review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and DM us a screenshot of that review, we'll make you a custom meme of your big three and send you a quick write-up about it.
We also have a very cool and exclusive Patreon. So if you want more awesome astrology content, join us at patreon.com/allegedlyastrology.
And if you feel a need, follow us on social media. We're Allegedly Astrology on Instagram and TikTok, and Allegedly Astro on Twitter. And you can visit our website, allegedlyastrology.com, to learn more about us and the show and book a reading with Dana. You could also check out charts and transcripts for select episodes.
I've recently entered a 12th house year, and my readings have gotten more psychological. So if you're interested in a quick psyche reading, I just gave one to Sarah the other day.
It's true. And it was very accurate.
Oh, I want one.
Yeah, you have to get yours.
You have to get yours.
So with that, Dana and your 12th house, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Juicy Couture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Juicy Couture. I hope everyone knows what it is we're talking about. But if for some reason you don't, Juicy is an iconic global brand of women and men's clothing, most famous for their velour tracksuits that were incredibly popular in the early 2000s. And the tracksuits were definitely status symbols and luxury staples made popular by millennial celebs like Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Lindsay Lohan, J-Lo, Kim K, Britney Spears, Mariah Carey. And they appeared in tons of popular movies and TV shows like Mean Girls, Legally Blonde, and The Sopranos. I had to leg my mom with every ounce of my being to get me a Juicy tracksuit, and she would not get me one that matched. So she would get me just the top.
Oh my God.
And just
really
the bottom.
messed up.
Yeah,
But she didn't want me wearing them both at the same time.
Wow.
And for some reason, I never did.
Oh, no.
But anyway,
what
brand,
colors were they?
I had one in black and red.
Yeah,
and then I only had
Bulls.
like
Go Bulls.
purple pants or something. It was weird.
Okay.
Anyway, the brand kind of just fell off the face of the earth in the 2010s, but since has had a resurgence thanks to Gen Z's love of nostalgia and Timothée Chalamet wearing a Juicy hoodie in an issue of GQ. So let's learn about this brand that marks the beginning of athleisure as we know it.
Okay, I still can't believe that Arlene did that to you.
I know.
Like, what a
Did
power
me
move.
dirty.
Yeah, like, I'll give you Juicy, but not the way you think you're going to get it.
Also, I wore a uniform to school, so I would never have even worn it really, like, except for to a sleepover party.
Honestly, it would have been worth it. I'm wearing one right now, and I just bought it.
She is.
Yes. Honestly, when it was cold in Miami, aka for 2 days, I wore this shit outside all the time, and it was amazing.
And you fit right in.
Yeah. Honestly, I wore it out to a work event, and several people stopped me and were like, well, it was a client who was having a millennial party, like a Y2K party.
I see. Okay, a Y2K party. That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, so that's initially why I bought it. But several people stopped me and unironically said, I love that. And I was like, thank you.
They were jealous.
Yeah.
I would have been too.
So Juicy Couture was created by two friends, Gila or Gala. I honestly don't know.
I think it's Jella. I'm pretty sure it's Jella. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Jella Nash, who was married to someone from the band Duran Duran, I found out, and Pamela Skates Levy, and they met while working at a boutique. Jella became pregnant and thought there weren't enough fashionable maternity clothes, which, like, fair. So they're like, let's just make our own.
Wait, Juicy started as a maternity brand?
It wasn't Juicy.
Yes.
In 1988, they met each other and decided to start a maternity line because for the, like,
oh, it wasn't Juicy. I see.
Yeah.
I see.
It was, I don't know what it was called.
Travis Jean.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so after the jeans, the friends...
Jeans does not sound like a maternity line, but...
The friends went on to make T-shirts. The T-shirts were available in a ton of colors and became super popular. And then while selling the t-shirts, the friends started calling the shirts Juicy Couture because they were so colorful and cute. You just wanted to eat them.
Yes, that was their thinking. They said it in like a creepier way. They're like, it's so cute. You could just eat them up.
Gross.
But everyone was into the name Juicy Couture. Jella and Pamela changed the name of their company officially to Juicy Couture, which honestly, amazing name. So what was going on when they were founded?
So on Wikipedia, it says they were founded in 1997, but I downloaded their book and looked at all the dates in there. And they said they were founded in spring 1995. So I think actually they might have added Couture in 97 and it was just Juicy in 95. Either way, I'm doing the astrology for 95. In October and November 1994, Venus was retrograde in Scorpio, and it stationed retrograde conjunct Jupiter and the North Node. So retrogrades subvert the agenda of whatever sign they occur in. And Venus is aesthetics, and Scorpio is commonly associated with dark colors and goth Halloween aesthetics, which I understand, but I don't always agree with, but that's not here or there. And on January 17th, 1985, Pluto entered Sagittarius for the first time. Sagittarius is literally the sign of the pop star, and Pluto and Sagittarius ushered in the era of pop stars, and juicy tracksuits were very pop star aesthetic.
Totally.
On March 24th, 1995, Mars stationed direct in Leo. Mars was retrograde. It stationed retrograde in Virgo in January in the early degrees of Virgo. And Mars is the planet of pursuit and power, and Leo is the sign of the celebrity. Mars is extra powerful when it stations direct. So this was a very prime time to launch a business like Juicy, whose reputation was literally linked to celebrities. And on April 1st, 1995, Uranus entered Aquarius for the first time. Uranus is the planet of revolution, innovation, and detours or derivation from the norm. And Aquarius is a sign of the people. So there were less barriers to entry for entrepreneurs. And this, I guess, sort of made fashion more accessible because Juicy was luxury, but it was also sort of something that we could all have. On April 15th, 1995, there was a lunar eclipse in Libra. And on April 29th, 1995, there was a solar eclipse in Taurus. So in the spring, both eclipses were ruled by Venus, the planet of aesthetics. So it's a pivotal moment for fashion. Next, I looked at Jella's birth chart because we don't have Pamela. So I just did all this about Jella. So she was born on November 5th, 1953 in Corning, New York. And she has a Scorpio sun and a Libra or Scorpio moon. So she's born the day before a new moon in Scorpio. She's good at playing the long game. Something interesting is that Lily Pulitzer was also born on a Scorpio new moon. And this is sort of why she was one of the people. I have a preppy aunt who's a Scorpio, and she's very Lily Pulitzer. So one time I was like, I bet Lily's a Scorpio, and she just ended up being a Scorpio. So
wow, that's the opposite of what I expected Lily Pulitzer to be.
I think of Scorpio sort of as like Stepford wifey, you know? I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, not always. I mean, I think
not always,
lack of course makes, I get it. But I do think that's sort of an
Scorpio, I'll never understand them. Every time I think I know something about Scorpio, they surprise me, which
I love that.
I think is their whole shtick anyway.
So I mean, Juicy isn't the millennial Lily, but maybe it kind of is. Anyway, okay, Ella was born one day after Mercury stationed retrograde at 0 degrees Sagittarius, so she's a big picture thinker and confident, if not dogmatic, about her ideas. Also, her Mercury is conjunct Lily Pulitzer's, who's also at 0 degrees Sagittarius. Very interesting.
Whoa.
She was born 7 days after Uranus stationed retrograde in Cancer, and Uranus is an outer planet related to innovation, magnetism, and lightning. And stationing planets have heightened energy, and they really can define a person's life trajectory in one way or another. And since her Uranus is in Cancer, which is a sign of the mother, it's not surprising that her first venture with Pam was the maternity line, right?
Yeah.
Like it literally moves the needle on maternity wear. So that's very Uranus in Cancer. And she has Saturn in Scorpio, so that makes her serious, business-minded, plays the long game. She sees herself as a hard worker, since it's in the same sign as her sun. And she has Venus conjunct Neptune in Libra, so she's creative. And she really dreamed up the aesthetics that sort of defined an era, maybe more for me than others, but Juicy's so correlated with an entire era. And then on November 3rd, 1984, so when Juicy was sort of incubating, there was a solar eclipse in Scorpio conjunct the North Node and Venus retrograde. So North Node eclipses pull you into the future, and eclipses conjunct Venus will relate to art, aesthetics, and partnership. And this eclipse energy was really prominent in her 1994 solar return. And it was also during her exact Uranus opposition. So Uranus again. Uranus oppositions are associated with like life crises because it's when people deviate from the norm to pursue what they actually want to do. And they start to realize that life isn't forever. So they're like, I might as well, do what I wanted to do. And this also activated her, strong natal Uranus placement. And it was conjunct her natal North Node, again, pulling her into the future.
Honestly, we got to rebrand the midlife crisis because
I think we will. Well, so Uranus it's lightning. So she caught lightning in a bottle during her Uranus opposition. It's not exclusively the midlife crisis. It's just sort of historically what that's associated with.
I know. Nice. Okay.
Finally, the April 15th eclipse in Libra was conjunct Jella's Venus-Neptune conjunction. And Pluto in Sagittarius was conjunct her natal Mercury retrograde. So this is just empowering her vision and plans. And literally, this is her time to succeed.
Love that.
Her time to shine. Wow. I really do love that for them.
Right.
And I didn't realize that they kind of were pioneers in rethinking maternity wear, which was just all muumuus, I feel like.
It was undignified.
It was undignified.
Much like most things are for women until we're like, can we not?
Yes. So the iconic Juicy Couture tracksuit launched in 2001, and the starting price was $155 for the set. And that equates to about like $275 in 2024 money. So it wasn't couture, but it kind of was couture. And what did it look like? It was made out of this really cushy velour that was like shiny and really soft and awesome. I also had a terry cloth one, but I digress.
Terry was their original design, I believe. I mean, I know because it was
really?
Because they liked terry because it reminded them of the 70s and they like the 70s aesthetic.
Yeah.
70s beach aesthetic.
So I loved the terry.
Same.
I think I only had terry.
I had so
like
much
one.
Juicy. I bought
Wow.
that.
Dana's an only child, okay? If you can't tell.
My mom also loves shopping. She's a Libra. But
lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me.
But anyway, they were very tailored to accent a woman's curve. So they had low-rise pants and fitted zip-up tops. And it was considered leisure wear, but a more glamorous version. Athleisure wasn't a thing back then, but this very much was athleisure.
I have to say, if there's one kind of, I can't say ick, but one part of the Juicy tracksuit that for me has not worked out well is I do feel like how it is cut. I feel like because it's meant to be worn low, I feel like it hits my body in a very weird way because the top is like cropped high and then the bottoms are supposed to be worn low. So It's kind of weird.
So it's like long.
Yeah.
Like the top is long.
The top is
I can't go back to low rise.
No, neither can I. Not even a little bit. That's why I have to pull these up and it's weird. But anyway, that's my struggle to deal with for another day. But in addition, the all Juicy products had the signature Juicy logo, which was 2 Highland Terriers holding a shield bearing 3 hearts. I honestly didn't really read this.
I didn't know that that's what the logo was.
So I'm trying to look at this one is just the one that just says Juicy. There's 3 hearts that says love PNG, and that's for Pamela and Jella. And a crown lies on top of it all with a Juicy Couture flowing banner. And another big thing about the Juicy tracksuit is that it had a bedazzled butt. So typically it said Juicy and like huge letters, but you could also personalize it to suit your needs with words or names or initials.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, as we know they do have a astrology line, so you can get your zodiac sign. I prefer it to say Juicy.
But if you want to send us Juicy Couture pants with our astrology on it, we are happy to receive them.
We want the Juicy press kit.
Yeah.
We should just message them and be like, hey, I know you're used to sending your shit to all these people, but we just did something on your astrology and Dana bought your book. So you send one of the 3 of us a astrology jumpsuit?
All 3 of us. We want all of us.
We're getting those tracksuits.
Yeah.
Okay. So the tracksuit was launched during a time when the U.S. was enjoying kind of an unprecedented economic growth situation. It was the era of excess and bedazzling was kind of the new thing. And it was sort of like a new luxury. And Juicy velour tracksuits became a symbol of casual luxury. Think of like quiet luxury back in the early 2000s. It was loud luxury. It was summer SUVs. It was juicy tracksuits in crazy colors. Everyone was flaunting it if they got it. And it also helped that this era was kind of before every celebrity had a stylist. They were kind of jumping on trends without caring too much about, if it was high fashion or not. So Dana, tell us what was going on when the tracksuit officially launched.
So the tracksuit was launched in 2001, and a year earlier, on May 28th, 2000, there was a great conjunction in Taurus. So Jupiter was conjunct Saturn at 22 degrees Taurus. Great conjunctions happen every 20 years, and they mark the era that you're in.
Also 2020.
Yeah.
That's when it came back. It was another great conjunction.
Yeah. So it's in Taurus, and Taurus is a sign of luxury. This was an era where luxury was mainstreamed, wealth was more idolized. And Taurus requires comfort, and that's what tracksuits afford you, a lot of comfort. On March 8th, 2001, Venus was retrograde in Aries, and that was ruled by Mars and Sagittarius. And fire signs are passionate, and the fire sign aesthetic is sexy and attention-grabbing. On May 11th, 2001, Mars went retrograde in Sagittarius, and Mars retrograde in fire signs are aligning with their business because, remember, it was retrograde in Leo the year they launched Juicy. So that's pretty cool. And also, Juicy is such a fire sign brand in a lot of ways. It's like, do you want to see my ass crack? You can't, but you almost can.
Yeah, it's like out and right. Very, look at me.
I just always picture Brittany in them, and she's, Queen Sag.
I mean, just a bedazzled ass on anything.
I don't think they had that much back then, to be honest. I didn't have any of those on my original ones.
Maybe it's just because I'm in the new age of it, where this is what it's like.
No, I love it. I'm just saying I don't think that was I know they had Juicy on the boat. I just don't know if I think that was a new innovation. On June 21st, 2001, there was a total solar eclipse at 0 degrees Cancer in an out-of-sign conjunction with Jella's Jupiter in Gemini. And so she's having her Jupiter return also at the same time. So having an eclipse coincide with your Jupiter return, and especially when that eclipse is conjunct your Jupiter, is pretty wild. It's like steroids for your Jupiter eclipse or your Jupiter return. Eclipses change lives, and Jupiter is a planet of luck, popularity, and abundance. And the tracksuit made her wealthy. The style of the tracksuit is, what solidified her. Because also in the book, they said that when they were first able to give themselves a salary, it was $27,000 a year. And this was in their mid-30s, so it's not. They were in their Uranus opposition, so that's 30s and 40s. But anyway, yeah. So also, her Jupiter, of course, is in Gemini, which is a sign of the twins, and she got successful with her friend and business partner. So I love that.
Oh, cute. So another thing about 2001 is that it was the time of the paparazzi, and it was when blogs and tabloids all wanted photos of celebrities. And Juicy noticed this, or the women of Juicy, I should say, noticed this and wanted to take advantage of this peak celebrity culture moment.
Yes. And so Juicy created a tracksuit custom designed for Madonna, and then they started to send their designs to other celebrities. And this is what sort of launched them into huge popularity.
Yeah, because suddenly J-Lo is seen wearing one in her I'm Real video, and I love that. Then Lindsay Lohan was photographed in one. But things really took off for the brand when Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie wore them all the time on their reality show, The Simple Life.
Yes. And then Kim Kardashian and her family's TV show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, they wore the tracksuits all the time, which sent the Juicy stock to an all-time high.
So at this point, no matter where you looked in a tabloid or a blog, you saw the Juicy tracksuit. So they're in super high demand, and all the attention and success attracted the attention of fashion conglomerates. So they were purchased by Liz Claiborne in 2003.
God, I didn't know that.
Yeah. They were purchased in 2003 for $226 million, which was a ton of money. And they then expanded to things like bags and jewelry and perfume and menswear, which honestly, there's several Juicy perfumes that I think smell really good. So what was going on for them in 2003?
So the sale was announced on March 18th, 2003, and this was literally on a full moon in Virgo opposite its ruler, Mercury in Pisces, which is in fall. So this is dreamy, but also it's a time when things are changing. So it's a mutable square. because we have a grand mutable square. So there's Mercury in fall in Pisces, the moon is in Virgo, Saturn's in Gemini, and Pluto's in Sagittarius. Mutable signs relate to change because they mark the ending of each season and changes in the air for the brand. And a week earlier, on March 10th, 2003, Uranus entered Pisces for the first time, and the brand launched when Uranus entered Aquarius in 1995. So Uranus is very correlated with this brand and Jella. Spoiler alert for this whole episode. But just with the Uranus change, they're moving into a different era. I feel like Juicy is very Uranus and Pisces because it's sort of dreamy. It's very girly. They love candy, but it's also subverts that a little bit. Also, in this chart, Jupiter is retrograde in Leo opposite Neptune in Aquarius. So we have Leo, the sign of the celebrity, and Jupiter is abundant. So it's really boosting the celebrity power. But being opposite Neptune in Aquarius makes it sort of starry-eyed. All is not that it seems. And I feel like this really sort of impacts the trajectory. Also, I'm looking at Jella's transit. Saturn was conjunct her Jupiter in Gemini, so that's making her rich forever. The South Node was conjunct her Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. So the cost of being rich forever is handing over the rights and control of her ideas in some capacity, even if they still had a lot of brand control. This was sort of the beginning that things wouldn't always be in her control. And Uranus in Pisces is squaring her 0-degree Mercury in Sagittarius. So this is a phase that changed and defined her way of thinking forever. Uranus transits make you go through phases.
So things were going relatively well for Juicy for quite some time. But sales kind of started to fall around 2009. And by 2013, things were tough. And so in 2013, so that's 10 years after the Liz Claiborne sale, Juicy was sold to Authentic Brands Group for $195 million, so at a loss. Juicy closed all of their stores, and they made a deal with Kohl's to sell their products, which made fans believe that it wasn't considered designer anymore. So what was going on for them in 2013?
Okay, so this is the first nodal return of when they launched the brand in spring 1995. So
damn,
nodal returns happen every 18 and a half years, roughly. It's when things change or when things stay the same. But it's like the brand is, it's not dying, but in many ways it's deviating from the original form. There were 3 eclipses in the spring of 2013. 2 were in May when they would have been making that offer. In the book, they said they made the offer in May 2013. And those eclipses were in Taurus and Sagittarius. And then there was another eclipse in October when it was sold. That was the one that really changed everything. And that was a lunar eclipse in Aries. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. We're making changes going in, new directions. Also during this time, Jella was in her second Saturn return and Jupiter return. So the second Saturn return always coincides with a Jupiter return, which sort of makes it smoother than the one that you got at the end of your 20s. And this one's about release, confidence, moving forward, and, the change of life. She's losing something with her Saturn return, but also just sort of, they weren't over. So that's the Jupiter return. They had other ideas coming. And then on November 3rd, 2013, there was a solar eclipse at 11 degrees Scorpio, and it's conjunct Jella's sun. In the same eclipse, or eclipse on the same day in 1994 occurred, and that was very much in her present in the solar return that launched Juicy. So it just really mirrors the whole trajectory of Juicy sort of is contained within this eclipse or this era. And then on December 21st, 2013, Venus stationed retrograde at 28 degrees Capricorn. And this, I think, is just really changing the brand aesthetics but also just the brand in general in order to maximize profit, which is very Capricorn. It's sort of the vision is dead. Not that Capricorn doesn't have vision. In fact, I think if a Capricorn does have vision, they're not letting that go. But when it gets handed over so many times, now it's like, let's just put this in Kohl's where we can make a lot more money because it's not succeeding where it used to. And then on March 1st, 2014, Mars stationed retrograde in Libra, conjunct the North Node, and Jella's natal Venus-Neptune conjunction, which is just pushing her forward in a new direction to pursue new goals. So that's that.
So, I think, this part, maybe I'm nerdy, but I was very fascinated by this. I feel like a lot of the success of Juicy was based on the era and people having a lot of money. So when it first came into popularity, everybody was just basically doing coke, and everyone's dad was a banker somewhere in the stock market or in the .com moment. But Now, at this point, it's the Great Recession. So the concept of leisure wear and sitting on your ass, just kind of like dicking around and spending money is no longer okay because it's a horrific economic downturn, you know?
I feel like a lot of times fashion we'll try to make we'll take inspiration from really high-end brands to make it affordable. And this was sort of like taking inspiration from casual clothes to make it, I mean, it was affordable, but it was still, high-end. I mean, it was still expensive.
Yeah,
You could buy it if you were regular, but it wasn't cheap.
Yeah, they started leisure for better or for worse. No one really wore their pajamas outside unless you were an 8th grade girl like me going to volleyball practice.
Yeah, I know. God, I mean, I don't know how I feel about them starting athleisure. I'm over athleisure, but at this point, it's part of culture. What's interesting is we're kind of coming into a little bit more of a economic downturn. And athleisure's kind of going away. Everyone's kind of back to that denim, quiet luxury look. I'm curious if there's a correlation. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud here. So post-recession, celebrities started to work really hard to demonstrate they are hard workers. And so instead of doing the aggressively relaxing, a lot of the reality shows kind of switched to, especially with the Kardashians, switched to the grueling lifestyle of a celebrity. It wasn't cool to be so rich you could just lounge around all day. But people kind of stopped wearing Juicy in the celebrity world.
Yeah, it was very hustle culture. But I mean, for that time, it sucked for Juicy. But all was not lost for them because flash forward to 2020, just in time for the brand's 25th anniversary, and Juicy is having a resurgence in culture thanks to new brand collabs that they're doing, and a little thing that you might be familiar with called the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, so with COVID lockdowns and work from home lifestyle caused many people to rethink their wardrobes. And these days, many of us are just wearing loungewear pretty often.
Additionally, Gen Z, especially, but also millennials, love a nostalgia moment. They love looking back and being like, wow, it was so great to wear butterfly clips. So that in turn has turned Juicy tracksuits into a cult item again. So what was going on for Juicy in 2020?
So on January 10th, 2020, there was a lunar eclipse in Cancer conjunct Jella's Uranus, and it was Jella's nodal opposition, which is hearkening to the past. There's a pile up of planets in Capricorn, including Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, all major power planets. So this is empowering Jella, but it's interesting that there was a lunar eclipse in Cancer because I feel like, I don't know, nothing about this has to do with moms, but for some reason I'm getting mom energy.
I feel like it's that ass, like a womanly shape. It was made for
the
MILFs. Womanly figure. Well, not even, MILFs, but also I feel like it's definitely made to accentuate your body and your curves.
For sure. Fauche. So yeah, it's made for women. And the lunar eclipse in Cancer was opening doors once again for Uranus, for Jella's Uranus.
So Juicy is seemingly back for the time being. They actually just launched, and I know this because I gave this to my students, they launched a menswear line called Dirty London. And it's pretty recently in 2024. AKA this year. They debuted at Fashion Week, but it's Juicy tracksuits, but for men.
Interesting. Men are just trying to be women these days. We see you. It's okay.
But this is a deep Gemini moment. Someone's going to isolate that. It's going to end up on some weird alt-right.
I mean that as a psycho-radical feminist, not in any other way.
Anyway, Dana, what predictions do you have for Juicy?
Juicy is currently in its Saturn return, which could really revive it in the zeitgeist. And I think maybe more so in 2025 and 2026. In 1995, the year Juicy was founded, Mars retrograded in Leo, as I spoke about earlier. And Mars stations retrograde in Leo on December 6th, 2024. So we're just sort of reverberating the echoes of the past of when Juicy was founded. Juicy also enters Cancer, or not Juicy, Jupiter. Jupiter enters Cancer on June 9th, 2025, where it will make 3 exact conjunctions to Jella's natal Uranus. So this is one way to sort of track this brand, right? The conjunctions are exact on October 6th, 2025, December 17th, 2025, and May 26th, 2026. So that could boost the brand in some way. Also, the North Node will be in Pisces, again, where Jupiter has, or where Juicy has its Saturn. And I feel like we could maybe see Juicy being recognized in some sort of formal way. Either maybe they're given an award. I don't know how we would even know about that. I won't be checking. But
they have like CFDA awards, but I really highly doubt that Juicy would win
something
one.
Interesting in the book was that they came out with, I think it was 2003 when they debuted. Yeah, it was when they debuted. They were bought and then they debuted accessories and they were recognized at the Accessories Council Awards along with Tom Ford and Sean P. Diddy Combs. So, yeah.
Shit.
So even Juicy is unfortunately linked. But yeah, so
P. Diddy's tangled web.
maybe there will be a documentary. Maybe they'll be recognized, in some other way.
There definitely should be. If there's a Beanie Babies documentary, there has to be a Juicy documentary.
Well, yeah, because they did so much for women's brand. They're great female entrepreneurs. I would like to know more about them. They seem so cool.
Agree.
Pam and Jelly, I love you.
I
want them
also
to have
love
a documentary.
Should we do it?
All right.
It should be
sure
us.
it's in the works.
It could be us.
Could be us. Just send us some merch. Just send us some bedazzled butt astrology tracksuits.
Gemini.
That's all we ask. Aries.
Oh, yeah. Capricorn.
You heard it.
So
Right.
I said it like it's the
Powerpuff Girls?
Girls.
Yeah, we are the Powerpuff Girls. All right, so remains to be seen what's going to happen with good old Juicy, but I think we're just going to declare it. It's back and it's here to stay for a little while. So
Hell yeah.
with that, I am Elise.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is Allegedly Astrology.